In Munich, Germany, right in the middle of a park bigger than Central Park, people are surfing, standing on boards in icy alpine water while dog walkers and cyclists drift past on the banks. It's the kind of scene that tells you Bavaria's capital runs on different rules. Everyone arrives expecting beer holes and lederhosen, and fair enough, those exist, but there's a whole city beyond that, stranger and more rewarding than most visitors expect. Munich sits in southern Germany, an hour from the Austrian border, with the Alps visible on clear days from the city centre. It's a place of contrasts, Baroque palaces and underground techno, white sausage breakfasts and Michelin-starred restaurants, ancient churches and Olympic architecture. The centre is compact enough to walk, the public transport is efficient and cheap, and whether you have 3 days or a week, you won't run short on things to do. And later we'll head south to the mountains because the Alps are closer to this city than most people realise. But first, the heart of the old town. Marienplatz is Munich's living room. The square has been the city's central gathering point since 1158, and today it's anchored by the Neues Rathaus, the new town hall, though new is relative when a building dates to 1874. Every day at 11 and again at noon and 5 in summer, the Glockenspiel in the tower puts on a mechanical show. 32 life-sized figures reenacting stories from Munich's history. It lasts about 12 minutes. Locals will tell you it's underwhelming, and honestly, from the ground, the figures are small. But there's something to watching a crowd of people from every corner of the world crane their necks in unison. The real reward on Marienplatz is climbing. Peterskirche, Old Peter, as Munichners call it, stands just steps from the square. For a few euros, you can climb its 306 steps. There's no elevator, the staircase narrows as you rise, and on busy days you're squeezing past people coming down in a passage barely wide enough for one. But from the top, Munich unfolds beneath you. Red rooftops, the twin copper domes of the Frauenkirche, and on clear mornings, the entire Alpine range stretched along the southern horizon like a promise. That view resets your sense of where this city actually sits. From Old Peter, it's a 2-minute walk south to the Viktualienmarkt, Munich's daily food market. This isn't a weekend affair. It runs Monday through Saturday, opening early morning, and it's where the city's chefs and home cooks have been shopping since 1807. The stalls sell everything: wheels of Bavarian cheese, sausages in varieties you didn't know existed, fresh pretzels the size of your head, honeys, oils, seasonal fruit piled in wooden crates. There's a permanent beer garden in the centre where you're welcome to bring food from the surrounding stalls. Buy a Leberkäse sandwich from one vendor, pickles from another. Grab a beer from the garden and piece together your own Bavarian breakfast at the communal tables under the chestnut trees. Prices are higher than a supermarket. This is market shopping, not bargain hunting, but the quality shows. If you want to try Weisswurst, the white veal sausage that's practically a religion in Munich, this is the place. Tradition says it should be eaten before noon with sweet mustard and a soft pretzel. Nobody enforces that rule, but you'll feel like an insider following it. Walk 10 minutes west along Sendlinger Straße and you'll find a doorway that's easy to miss. The Asmkirche is tucked between ordinary shop fronts. No grand plaza, no towering facade. Step inside and your jaw drops. Built in the 1730s by the Asm brothers as their private chapel, this tiny church is one of the most lavishly decorated Baroque interiors in Europe. Every surface is gilded, frescoed, or sculpted. It's barely 10 meters wide, but the detail is so dense you could spend 20 minutes just looking at the ceiling. Entry is free, and because most visitors walk right past the modest entrance, you'll often have the place nearly to yourself. 5 minutes here leaves an impression that lasts for days. Heading north from Sendlinger Straße, past Marienplatz and through the elegant arches of the Feldherrenhalle on Odeonsplatz, you reach the residence. This was the royal palace of Bavarian monarchs for 5 centuries, and the scale is staggering. Over 130 rooms open to the public, organised into a route that takes around 2 hours if you don't rush. The highlight is the Antiquarium, a long Renaissance hall from the 1560s with vaulted ceilings covered in frescoes and hundreds of busts lining the walls. It's the kind of room that makes you stop and just breathe for a moment. The treasury deserves a separate admission. Royal crowns, jewelled swords, and ceremonial objects that rival anything in London or Vienna. Combined tickets for both run about €14. Arrive when the doors open at 9 and you'll have those first rooms largely to yourself before the tour groups filter in by 10. From the residence, walk east through the Hofgarten, a formal garden with satisfying symmetry, and within minutes you're at the edge of the Englischer Garten. Over 900 acres, one of the largest urban parks in the world. And it doesn't feel manicured. Wide meadows, thick woodland, streams cutting through clearings, and in summer, hundreds of Münchners spread out across the grass, some of them wearing nothing at all. Nudity in the park is completely normal here. It catches first-time visitors off guard, but nobody bats an eye. The Eisbach wave sits at the park's southern entrance near Prinz-Regente-Straße. A standing wave forms where the Eisbach Canal passes under a small bridge, and surfers take turns riding it, one at a time, while crowds watch from the banks and the bridge above. The water is cold, fed by Alpine snowmelt, and the skill level is high. This isn't a beginner's spot. People train for months before stepping in. But watching is free. Endlessly entertaining, and one of those experiences no other city can replicate. Deeper into the park, the Chinesischer Turm, the Chinese Tower, anchors one of Munich's most beloved beer gardens. 4,000 seats under spreading chestnut trees, a wooden pagoda in the middle, and on summer evenings, the sound of a brass band drifting across everything. A litre of beer runs about €11. Kids chase each other across the grass while their parents settle in for the afternoon. It's unhurried and warm in a way that feels genuinely communal, not staged, not performative, just people enjoying a long afternoon together. A 15-minute walk south from the park brings you to the Hofbräuhaus. And yes, it's touristy, no way around that, but the building dates to 1589. The beer is brewed in-house, and the scale of the main hall is genuinely impressive. Vaulted ceilings painted in blue and gold, long wooden tables, and an Oompa band you'll either love or learn to tolerate. A mass, a full litre, costs about €12. Here's the thing about Munich beer culture, though. The Hofbräuhaus is the introduction, not the destination. The city has 6 major breweries, each with its own halls and gardens scattered across town. Augustiner is the local favourite. Their Keller on Arnulfstrasse, a 10-minute walk from the main train station, has a sprawling outdoor garden and a more relaxed, distinctly local crowd. Paulaner am Nuckerberg draws Munichers for Stark beer in spring, a strong, dark lager originally brewed by monks for fasting season. The tradition of drinking your calories when you can't eat them is very Bavarian. If you drink one beer in Munich, make it an Augustiner Helles tapped from a wooden barrel. You'll understand the loyalty. Now, if the old town is Munich in performance mode, grand, photogenic, built to impress, The Glockenbach quarter, south of the centre, is where the city lets its guard down. This is Munich's creative, progressive neighbourhood. Independent bookshops, natural wine bars, vintage clothing stores, and restaurants that are serious about food without being serious about atmosphere. Gärtnerplatz, the circular square at the neighbourhood's heart, fills up on warm evenings with people sitting on the grass, sharing bottles of wine, watching the light change behind the Gärtnerplatz theatre. It's effortless and social in a way that the old town never quite manages. For dinner, the streets around Fraunhofer Straße and Reichenbachstraße are lined with options. Classic Bavarian Wirtshausers alongside Thai, Vietnamese and modern European. A meal at a neighbourhood restaurant runs 15 to 25 euros, and the quality is consistently high. This is where you realise Munich isn't just Baroque churches and beer. It's a modern European city with real creative energy running underneath. 20 minutes west by tram, Nymphenburg Palace sits at the end of a long canal lined with swans, the summer residence of Bavarian rulers, and from outside it's graceful and symmetrical in a way that naturally slows your pace. Inside, the Gallery of Beauties, 36 portraits of women King Ludwig I considered the most beautiful of his era, is the signature room. The politics of that collection are worth a conversation, but as a gallery, it's singular. The real draw, though, is the park behind the palace. 200 hectares of gardens, canals, pavilions and forest. The Amalienburg, a small hunting lodge tucked in the grounds, is a rococo jewel. Mirrored walls, silver ornament, designed for a queen who wanted to shoot pheasants in style. Entrance to the palace costs €8, or a combined ticket covering the pavilions runs 15. In summer, bring food. The grounds are free to wander, and there are corners of this park where you can sit for an hour without another person in sight. North of the centre, the Olympic Park, built for the 1972 Games, has aged remarkably well. The swooping, tent-like roof, designed by Free Otto, still looks futuristic half a century on, and the park beneath it is a genuine public space. Jogging paths, a lake, concert venues, and in winter, a toboggan run on the old Olympic Hill that families line up for. For something more adventurous, guided tours take you across the acrylic roof canopy of the Olympic Stadium, 40 metres above the ground, clipped into a safety line, walking on translucent panels with the city spread below your feet. It runs about €49 and books up fast, so planning ahead pays off. Next door, BMW Welt is free to enter and worth the detour even if cars aren't your thing. The architecture, a massive double cone structure in glass and steel, is striking enough on its own. The BMW Museum across the street traces the company's evolution from aircraft engines to electric vehicles, with interactive exhibits that hold children's attention longer than most parents expect. €10 for adults, free for kids under 6. A short walk from the centre, on a small island in the Isar River, the Deutsches Museum is one of the largest science and technology museums in the world. Full-sized submarines, aircraft suspended from the ceiling, mining tunnels you walk through underground, a planetarium, and floor after floor of hands-on exhibits covering everything from musical instruments to nuclear physics. Plan for 2 hours and accept that you'll stay for 4. The Kinderreich section on the ground floor is designed for kids under 8, water play, building blocks, simple experiments, and it's one of those rare museum spaces where children are genuinely encouraged to touch everything. €15 for adults, open daily. Morning hours before school groups arrive at 10 are noticeably calmer. 30 minutes northwest of Munich by S-Bahn, the Dachau concentration camp memorial occupies the site of the first Nazi concentration camp, opened in 1933. This is not a comfortable visit. It's not meant to be, but it's a profoundly important one. The grounds include reconstructed barracks, the crematorium, and a thorough exhibition documenting the camp's history through photographs, documents, and survivor testimonies. Audio guides in several languages cost about €4 and provide context the site alone cannot fully convey. Admission is free. Allow at least 2 to 3 hours. Some visitors find it helps to schedule something quiet afterwards, a walk by the river, a coffee somewhere calm, before returning to the energy of the city centre. And finally, an hour south by regional train, the Alps arrive. Starnberger See, the large lake where King Ludwig II drowned under mysterious circumstances in 1886, is just a 40-minute ride from Munich's central station. The lake is clean enough for swimming, ringed by walking paths and small towns with beer gardens right on the waterfront. In summer, ferries connect the villages, and you can spend a full day moving between swimming spots, shoreline trails, and long lunches without any particular plan. For something more dramatic, Partnachklamm near Garmisch-Partenkirchen is 90 minutes south by train. A walkway carved into the rock takes you through a narrow gorge, waterfalls cascading down moss-covered walls, the milky blue Partnach River churning below, cool mist drifting off the stone even in midsummer. The path runs about 700 metres, takes half an hour and costs a few euros to enter. It's manageable for most fitness levels, though the ground can be slippery after rain. From Garmisch, the Zugspitze, Germany's highest peak, is reachable by cog railway and cable car. €70 round trip, steep in both senses, but on a clear day you're standing at nearly 3,000 metres looking into 4 countries at once. That view makes the train ride from Munich feel like the start of a different trip entirely. Munich is a city that keeps surprising you. It's traditional without being stuck, beautiful without being precious, and it feeds you in every sense. Your eyes, your stomach, your curiosity. Whether you're watching surfers in a city park, nursing a beer under chestnut trees as a Bavarian afternoon stretches into evening, or standing on a summit with the Alps rolling to the horizon, there's a generosity to this place. It doesn't perform for you, it just lets you in. Like, if this was interesting, hit the subscribe for more and turn that notification bell on.